The jury in Sean Diddy Combs' federal trial has confirmed they've reached a verdict on 4 out of the 5 counts against him. Count 1 remains undecided with jurors split. This is a major development. Social media is erupting, with many claiming the quick deliberation signals a guilty verdict. But is it that simple? Conventional wisdom says fast verdicts often benefit the prosecution. If the jury returns quickly, it can mean the evidence was so strong they had little to debate. On the flip side, long deliberations sometimes favor the defense, suggesting jurors are wrestling with reasonable doubt. Because this verdict came quicker than expected, many assume Diddy is done. But veteran defense attorney Braff Cohen disagrees. He's represented numerous high-profile clients in federal courts, and in his experience, a quick verdict doesn't always mean a guilty one. He believes this could still go in Diddy's favor, especially considering the complexity of the charges. Let's break it down. The jury has reached a conclusion on 4 charges. Count 1, believed to be the racketeering conspiracy, is the only one they haven't decided on yet. Because the indictment was superseded, we'll need confirmation, but it's highly likely that Count 1 is the RICO charge. For now, the jury is deadlocked on it. The judge has a few options. He can send the jury home for the night and have them return tomorrow to resume deliberation. He can issue what's known as an Allen charge, essentially urging the jurors to continue discussions and try harder to reach a consensus. Or if the jury insists they're hopelessly deadlocked, the judge can declare a mistrial on Count 1 and proceed to announce verdicts on the remaining 4. The nature of those 4 counts will determine everything. If Diddy is found not guilty on all 4, retrying the single racketeering charge becomes nearly impossible. If it's a mix, guilty on some, not guilty on others, that's where things get interesting. So, what are the charges? Count 1, racketeering conspiracy. Count 2, trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, Cassie Ventura. Count 3, violating the Mann Act, transportation for prostitution, Cassie. Count 4, trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, Jane Doe, aka Daphne Joy. Count 5, violating the Mann Act, Jane Doe. Here's where the law becomes very specific. For a racketeering conviction, the government must prove Diddy committed at least 2 predicate acts that fall under the RICO statute. Those acts could include things like kidnapping, sex trafficking, bribery, witness tampering, drug distribution, and more. If the jury is split on the racketeering charge, that strongly implies they could only agree on one of the required acts, or they're undecided whether certain behavior qualifies. This leads to a key question. What did the jury conclude about counts 2 through 5? If they had unanimously found Diddy guilty on both trafficking and the Mann Act violations involving both women, then they'd already have the minimum 2 predicate acts needed to convict him of racketeering. The fact they're deadlocked on RICO means they probably didn't find him guilty across the board. It suggests he may have been convicted on one of those counts, but not enough to build a RICO conviction. The math doesn't add up otherwise. Most observers believe Diddy will be found guilty of at least one Mann Act violation. The Mann Act makes it illegal to transport someone across state lines for prostitution or commercial sex acts. The prosecution focused heavily on Jane Doe's account. She testified that Diddy paid her $10,000 monthly rent while she engaged in sexual activities with other men at his request. Prosecutors argued that this was a clear business exchange, money for sex facilitated by Diddy. That fits the definition of the Mann Act. Jane's testimony included messages and voicemails from Diddy that prosecutors say show coercion. He reportedly told her, "I'm not giving you money for nothing. You better get with the program." While this wasn't direct proof of sex for money, the prosecution claimed it formed a pattern. Now compare that to Cassie's case. Her allegations were more dramatic, but also harder to prove. She testified that Diddy showed her a private video on a plane and threatened to show it to her mother unless she participated in a freak-off with him once they landed. Prosecutors framed this as textbook coercion. If the jury believed that threat occurred, it would satisfy the requirement for sex trafficking under coercion. But the defense fought back hard, pointing out that Cassie allegedly paid the male escorts herself, which complicates the idea that Diddy profited from the alleged prostitution. If Diddy wasn't financially benefiting, then the government's claim that he trafficked Cassie for commercial sex becomes weaker. That nuance matters. For the Mann Act and trafficking charges to stick, the prosecution needs to prove Diddy either profited from or directly facilitated the sex acts. In Cassie's case, the paper trail didn't clearly show profit for Diddy. Jane Doe's case had more financial linkage, but she also admitted on the stand that she participated willingly and was jealous of other women who got better perks. She said she wanted to be Diddy's main girl and saw the other women as competition. Her testimony undercut the narrative of coercion. Still, the prosecution leaned on her statements about Diddy physically assaulting her, not because of the sex acts, but due to jealousy over her interactions with other men. They argued this supported a pattern of control. So what does this tell us? The jury likely saw the Mann Act violations, especially Jane's, as more clear-cut than the sex trafficking counts. That's why many believe Diddy is facing conviction under at least one Mann Act charge. And if he's found guilty on just one, but not enough for racketeering, that explains the split on count one. As for the racketeering charge itself, the jury appears divided on whether Diddy committed two or more of the predicate crimes. If they only believe he's guilty of one, like a Mann Act violation, that's not enough for RICO. And unless they're convinced he also committed bribery, drug trafficking, or witness tampering, they'll remain stuck. That's likely why they're deadlocked. The judge will push for a final answer. If the jury still can't agree, a mistrial will be declared for that count alone. The remaining verdicts will then be revealed and will determine Diddy's immediate future. Meanwhile, the court of public opinion is raging. Supporters of Diddy still cling to hopes of full acquittal. Critics say he's clearly guilty. The truth is likely more complicated, and many content creators online are sticking to whatever their original prediction was. Nobody wants to be wrong, so biases are showing. TMZ's Harvey Levin, a former lawyer, is one of the few legal voices saying Diddy is absolutely in trouble. He pointed to the speed of the jury's decision and the direct coercion in Cassie's testimony. He believes the government's case is stronger than people realize. Harvey is convinced Diddy will be convicted on multiple counts. That's not guaranteed. As we've seen, the jury's inability to reach a verdict on the racketeering charge proves there's disagreement, even within the room. The case isn't as cut and dry as either side wants to believe. Also worth noting, other figures connected to Diddy are now speaking out. Gina Wynn, another woman previously linked to Diddy, gave a recent interview to TMZ where she denied ever being harmed by him. She even said she feels no fear about the trial and doesn't believe her life is in danger. That directly contradicts what some others, like Aubrey O'Day, have said. Aubrey stated she plans to leave the country if Diddy is acquitted because she fears the message it sends to survivors. This split in public perception mirrors the split in the courtroom. Some witnesses are labeling Diddy a monster, while others insist he's done nothing wrong to them. Beyond the trial, Diddy's reputation is already damaged. Several brands have cut ties, and major business partners are distancing themselves from his empire. Whether or not he's convicted, the fallout from this case is going to impact his career long term. Music festivals are dropping his name. Artists are removing old collaborations from platforms. The industry is moving cautiously. In the next 24 hours, the courtroom will deliver answers. The jury is expected to resume deliberations and either come to a conclusion on the racketeering charge or force the judge to proceed without it. Either way, we'll know soon where Diddy stands and what happens next for one of hip-hop's most controversial moguls. So what do you think? Is this the end for Diddy? Or will he walk away with his legacy damaged but his freedom intact? And if you're still watching, click on the next video to learn how another powerful figure in entertainment was finally exposed after years of hiding the truth. You won't believe what came out in court.